Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Math Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. Okay, so we're at the fourth type of equation of a line now, which is called the standard form. We've talked about three types earlier. We've talked about the slope-intercept form, which is the y equal to mx plus c. And like I told you, is the general equation of a line. We talked about the point slope form, and the point slope form, I explained to you that the point slope form only is when you are given 1 point in the question and the slope. Now, I also talked about the 2-point form, and the 2-point form is when you have 2 points and no gradient. Now we have in the standard form. The standard form is similar to the slope-intercept form. It's just a rearrangement of the general equation, okay? So before I start, make sure you go back and review the previous videos. And if you have any question, please let me know. As well as don't forget to subscribe and click on notification bell so that when I post new videos, you'll be the first person to know. So like I said, the standard form is a form of the rearrangement of the y equals to what? Mx plus c. So basically what you're doing here, you're rearranging it. Is that right? So what you do, you're rearranging it with all the variables and the constant written on the other side of the equation. Is that okay? So basically, this form, all right, is just a rearrangement of the general equation. Y is equal to mx plus c, okay? So with all the variables and constants, okay? All the variable and constants written on the other side of the equation. So that means you now end up getting the ax plus by plus c is equal to 0. Okay? You now get the ax plus by plus c to be equal to 0. And usually you need to take note is that most cases, a, b, and c are usually asked to be in integers. So care must be taken. Okay? If a, b, and c are asked to be in integers. So when we say integers, we mean whole numbers, all right? So whole numbers, that means no fractions. So that integers, they're whole numbers and no fractions, all right? So I'm going to talk about 3 rules for this, talk about the rules, then I'm going to solve an example. It's basically simple, all right? So it's very, very easy. Number 1, the first thing you do is that you have to first solve and derive the equation of a line. So if you look at in the previous video, I talked about how do you derive it, if it's the point slope form, the 2-point form, and at the end of the day, you have to go back and get to the slope intercept form. So what we are trying to say, you have to solve and derive the equation of a line in the slope intercept form. So the slope intercept form, so that means you have to derive it to be in form of y is equal to mx plus c. Number 2, when you've done that, you do the same thing. Like for instance, if you have 1 point and 1 slope, you use the point slope form to find it. If you have 2 points and no slope, you use the 2-point form to find it, and the rest of it, If the slope has been given to you and the c, you just write it in the form of y is equal to mx plus c. Now, when you've done all this and you finally got into your final answer, y equals mx plus c, what you then do is that you move all the variables, okay, and constants, okay, to one side of the equation. So you move everything to one side of the equation. Okay? And after you've done that, the next thing, step 3, you then have to rewrite in the correct order. Okay? So that means you solve as usual and you derive the equation of a line in the intercept form, in the slope-intercept form, which is a y is equal to mx plus c. Then after that, you move all the variables and constants to one side of the equation. Then you rewrite in the correct what? The correct order. So let's pick an example for instance. So let's say we have this question. It said, number 1, it said find the equation of a line okay, in the form of ax plus by plus c equal to 0 with points seven, 2 and 1, minus 3. Okay, it said it said write if a, b, and c are not integers, and b, right? So right means basically write the equation if a, b, and c are integers. Is that okay? So let's go. So now, if you look at this question now, we have 2 points, but no slope. So we're going to use the 2-point form. Okay, 2 points, but no slope, the 2-point form. So this will be x1, y1, x2, y2. So step 1, my x1 is equal to 7. My y1 is equal to 2. And my x2 is equal to 1. And my y2 is equal to minus 3. Then we use the formula y minus, remember what we are doing? We're solving to derive the y equals to mx plus c, all right? So we're using the 2-point form. So I'm going to use y minus y1 is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, x minus x1. So remember I told you, you use this when you have 2 points and the slope is still given to you, all right? So that will give us y minus 2 is equal to minus 3 minus 2 divided by 1 minus 7 and x minus 7. And that'll give you minus y minus 2 equal to minus 3 minus 2 give you minus 5 divided by 1 minus 6 will give you minus 6 x minus 7. So then y minus 2 will be equal to, we have, what do you call it? Minus divided by minus will give you positive. So it'll be 5 over 6 into bracket x minus 7. Okay? You open the bracket, it'll be y minus 2 is equal to 5 over 6x minus 35 over what? Over 6. Then you then have to take the other one to the other side. So taking it to the other side is going to give you y will be equal to 5 over 6x minus 35 over 6 plus 2, okay? Now, minus 35 over 6 plus 2 will give you minus 23 over 6 equal to 5 over 6x, and that is the y. So this is the equation of the line, okay? Then number 2, he said the next step, move all the variables and constants to one side of the equation. So we're having this one. So we're going to go to step 2 now. So for step 2, we're going to move all this to one side of the equation. So you can either move the y to the other side, or you can move all this to the other side. So I'm going to show you. So you can either move y to the other side. So it's going to give us 5 over 6x minus 23 over 6 minus y. Or you can decide to move all this to the other side, okay? It's going to give us y minus 5 over 6x plus 23 over 6 is equal to 0. So any of this is fine. Now, step 3, we need to write it in the correct format, okay? So step 3, so if you look at this, for example, we are having this particular question, and we are meant to write it in the correct format of the standard form is ax plus by plus c. So that means the ax must come first. So the ax is going to be 5 over 6x. Then y must come first, minus y. Then minus 23 over 6 is equal to 0. Or if you're writing in this one, minus 5 over 6x must come first. Then it will be plus y plus 23 over 6 is equal to 0. Now let's look at A. A said if A, B, and C are not integers. So see, let us go to the next page. So we're having 5 over 6x minus y minus 23 over 6. So minus y minus 23 over 6, okay? Now, in this case here, you will notice that the A is equal to 5 over 6, the B is equal to 1, and the C is equal to 23 over 6. So that means A is correct if they are not integers, right? So if they ask you to leave your answer like that, so that means this will be your answer, all right? If they ask you A, B, and C are not integers, so you can leave your answer in fractions, all right? Or if it's the second one you're writing, it's going to be minus 5 over 6x plus y plus 23 over 6. So in this case, your A is going to be minus 5 over 6. Your B is going to be, this is minus 1, and this is minus 23 over 6. While this is going to be 1, and C is going to be what? 23 over 6. All right? But if you look at the B part, they said if A, B, and C are integers. So that means in this case, they are whole numbers. So because they are whole numbers, A, B, and C cannot be fractions. So that means you cannot have fractions as the coefficient. So that means you cannot have 5 over 6 as a coefficient. You cannot have 23 over 6 as a constant term. All right? So in order to get rid of that, what do? So I have it, for example, 5 over 6x minus y minus 23 over 6 equal to 0. Okay? All these are equal to 0. Now, what do? In order to get rid of the fractions, you multiply all by what? 6. Because when you multiply by 6, the fraction will go away. So that means 5 over 6 times 6 will give you 5x minus 6y minus 23 is equal to 0. And this will be the answer if A, B, and C are integers. Likewise, if you had it as minus 5 over 6x plus y plus 23 over 6 is equal to 0, you multiply this by 6, multiply this by 6, multiply by 6, multiply by 6, and this will give you minus 5x plus 6y plus 23 is equal to what? 0. And that will be the answer for that. So that means in this case now, the A will be minus 5, the B is going to be 6, and the C is going to be 23. Are you seeing it? Here, the A is going to be 5, the B is going to be minus 6, and the C is going to be minus 23. So any of this will be correct for B, and any of this will be correct for what? A. All right? So if, for instance, you're told that A, B, and C are not integers, so the first one can work. But if they say A, B, and C are integers, definitely you have to then multiply by the denominator because you cannot have fractions. And then that will give you the answer. All right. So we've understood the equation of a line. We've understood some various concepts. The next part I'm going to talk about will be parallel, perpendicular, and the points of intersections. So we understand the equation of a line now. So now we can now go further to talk about parallel, perpendicular, and the points of intersections. So I'm going to see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to click the notification bell because when I upload a new video, you'll be the first person to know. All right, so see you soon.